The air in the Conservative Policy Summit's Houston Hall was thick with anticipation, a palpable hum that vibrated beneath the polished concrete floor. Above, the lights, usually mere functional illumination, sliced through the cavernous space like searchlights on a battlefield, starkly revealing every face in the vast audience. A sea of red, white, and blue banners draped from the rafters, a patriotic backdrop to the brewing ideological storm. Amidst this charged atmosphere, a figure emerged, not with the typical fanfare of a seasoned politician, but with a quiet, almost unsettling resolve. Before we dive into this electrifying tale of political showdowns and shifting power, if you're ready to witness a narrative that cuts through the noise and exposes the raw truth of today's political arena, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you believe in courage over complacency. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement fuels the fight for clarity. Now, prepare to be captivated. Karoline Leavitt, at just 27, was a striking presence. Her crisp navy blazer seemed to absorb the room's energy, while a silver cross at her neck occasionally caught the glare, flashing a brief, defiant glint. She moved with an unhurried confidence, stepping up to the podium. There was no forced smile, no rehearsed pleasantries, none of the saccharine charm often deployed by those seeking public favor. Instead, her posture, her gaze, her very stillness projected the image of a fighter ready to strike. She scanned the diverse crowd, the party elders with their gravitas, the media types with their ever-present cameras, the silent, watchful eyes of the live stream audience. Her voice, when it came, was smooth, yet sharpened to a blade, cutting through the murmurs that had begun to ripple through the hall. Back in the VIP lounge, she declared, leaning into the microphone, Ana Navarro is already rolling her eyes at me. She paused, letting the audacious statement hang in the air, and the audience collectively tensed, a shared breath held. A ripple of laughter, sharp and triumphant, echoed through the conservative corner of the room, a wave of recognition and approval. Simultaneously, the left-leaning side stiffened, their expressions hardening, a palpable chill descending upon their section. Minutes later, the prelude was over. Both women settled into their chairs on the stage, the setting now for the main event, a panel ominously titled America Divided, Dialogue or Damage. The moderator's voice, a practiced bomb, cut through the lingering murmur. Ms. Leavitt, Ms. Navarro, he began, attempting to steer the conversation. Where do you believe America's real divide lies? Karoline leaned forward, her eyes bright with almost a predatory intelligence. It's not red versus blue anymore. It's elite versus real. The words landed with the precision of a surgical strike. Across from her, Ana Navarro, a veteran of countless televised debates, responded with practiced ease. Every line of her posture exuded a cultivated charm, and she offered that glossy, familiar TV smile. "Darling," Navarro purred, her tone dripping with condescension, "I've been called elite before. It's not the insult you think it is." She paused, a calculated beat, allowing the audience to react, expecting a wave of sympathetic chuckles. But Karoline, unyielding, let the moment stretch, absorbing the subtle challenge before dropping her words like stones into still water. When you mock working mothers in Iowa on morning shows as if their lives are a punchline, that's not commentary, that's condescension. The tension in the air coiled, taut and visible, like a drawn bowstring. The moderator, caught in the crossfire, shifted uneasily in his seat. Even Anna's polished comb wavered just a fraction, a hairline crack appearing in her carefully constructed facade. The battle had truly begun.
Navarro, her composure momentarily shaken, quickly recalibrated. Her tone, now clipped and precise, shot back. Commentary? If you enter public life, you don't get a participation trophy. It was a classic deflection, an attempt to paint Leavitt as thin-skinned, but before she could press the point, Karoline was already countering. "And you compared conservatives to cockroaches last month," Leavitt shot back, her hand raised, not in anger, but with the controlled authority of a teacher quieting a rowdy class. "But I'm not here to whine about insults. I'm here to expose them. If I'd said half the things you've said about liberals, I'd be banned from every platform." A hush fell over the hall, so profound that even the moderator, usually quick to interject, paused. Navarro's jaw tightened, a muscle twitch betraying the strain beneath her polished exterior. "Nobody outside your bubble listens to you," Navarro scoffed, a last-ditch effort to dismiss Leavitt's burgeoning influence. Karoline's smile was slow, deliberate, and devastatingly sharp. "Funny," she drawled. "That's exactly what they said about Trump in 2015. A collective gasp rippled through the audience, followed by a smattering of applause from the conservative side, a clear sign that Leavitt had landed a significant blow. Navarro visibly tightened her posture, her voice edged with a new, raw frustration. "So now you compare yourself to Trump?" she asked, trying to box Leavitt into a corner. "No," Karoline replied quietly, her voice unwavering amidst the rising murmurs. "I compare you to the media back then, dismissive, arrogant, certain you had already won." Navarro, a seasoned political operative, recovered with a practiced grace, leaning in with a steel edge now barely concealed beneath her charm. "You're clever, Karoline, but clever doesn't mean qualified." It was a direct challenge to Leavitt's youth and perceived inexperience, but Karoline didn't flinch. Her gaze remained steady, her voice clear and resonant. "I'm 27, and the establishment already fears me," she declared, the words echoing with a defiant truth. "They don't throw punches at someone they don't fear." Silence descended again, heavy and pregnant with meaning. Navarro's jaw dropped, her facade cracking under the relentless pressure. "I'm not here about me or you," Karoline continued, her voice calm and precise, shifting the focus from personal attacks to a broader cause. "I'm here from millions of Americans who feel ignored and erased, while people like you laugh from cable studios." The moderator, sensing the conversation veering further from policy, tried desperately to steer it back, but the momentum was fully charged, an unstoppable force. Navarro, seizing an opening, shot back. "You called student protesters emotional toddlers. You told climate activists to touch grass and get jobs." "Because I tell the truth," Karoline said, her voice cutting through the accusation. The audience shifted again, torn between the two clashing ideologies. "I won't stroke anyone's ego. I represent a generation tired of spoon-fed slogans." Navarro's face flickered, a momentary loss of control. "Passion without wisdom burns down your own side," she warned, a final desperate attempt to reassert her authority. But Karoline, emboldened, stood, stepping forward until she was eye-level with Ana, closing the physical and ideological gap between them. "I may not sit in TV studios," Leavitt asserted, her voice gaining power, "but I've knocked on doors in New Hampshire defending candidates you called jokes until those jokes won the presidency." Applause, loud and unreserved, broke from the right side of the hall. Navarro's eyes narrowed, a glint of genuine anger now visible. "That same president tried to overturn democracy," she countered, a direct accusation. Karoline didn't miss a beat. "He questioned a system that's still legal in America, for now." Gasps mixed with cheers, the hall buzzing with the sheer audacity of her statement. "Let's bring it back," the moderator urged, his voice strained. "Young leadership in politics." Karoline seized the opening, her gaze unwavering. "What scares them isn't my opinions. It's that I'm young, prepared, and unafraid." Navarro scoffed, a dismissive sound. "I've seen interns with more depth." But Karoline's eyes didn't waver. "Keep laughing," she challenged, her voice low but piercing. "You laughed at flyover states, but you're not laughing now, are you?" The audience exploded, a roar of approval. The moderator, hands raised in a gesture of surrender, conceded the chaos. Navarro, her face a mask of controlled frustration, recovered enough to add, "Challenge the system with facts and compassion, not slogans." It was a final, desperate attempt to reclaim the moral high ground. Karoline simply nodded, her expression unreadable. "Facts and purpose, not polished talk," she countered, her voice resonating with conviction. "Where I see rot, I don't paint over it, I rip it out." Silence hung heavy, a testament to the weight of her words. Then, Ana sprang her last shot, a calculated jab. Passion is great, but without wisdom, it's reckless. Laughter, sharp and derisive, rolled from the liberal front row, a final push to dismiss Leavitt as a mere firebrand. But Karoline didn't flinch. She walked closer again, her gaze locking with Navarro's. I've sat with veterans, with parents whose kids were failed by the system. If that's reckless, Miss Navarro, you've forgotten what this fight actually feels like. A hush so deep you could hear breaths fell over the hall. Karoline turned to the crowd, her voice carrying clear and strong. You can laugh at me, but you won't outwork me or outlast the people I fight for. Slow, honest applause began building like thunder, a groundswell of support. Ana's grip on her podium tightened, her knuckles white. The moderator, sensing the panel's end, called for the final question, the role of women in politics. A young woman asked what it meant when women disagreed. Karoline answered first, her words a clear manifesto. Women lead with courage, serve with honesty, and speak without fear. When we disagree, we sharpen each other. We don't silence one another. Ana followed, her voice regaining some of its practiced composure. Women break glass ceilings, but we don't throw the shards at each other. Respect is essential. Otherwise, we feed the machine trying to break us. Karoline nodded, a small, almost imperceptible gesture, giving Ana the small win, a strategic concession. A man in his 60s, his voice laced with skepticism, asked what Karoline had actually changed. Noise is empty, she said, sweeping her hand across the packed hall, encompassing the cameras, the dialogue. That's momentum. I fought federal overreach in my state, defended parental rights, and championed faith freedom. I'm not trending. I'm moving the scale. Ana jumped in, a final attempt to sow doubt. But what happens when the scale tips too far? Karoline looked her squarely in the eye. Then it's not tipping that's the problem. It's that the others stopped standing. Approval rippled through the crowd, a wave of affirmation. One last student asked, "What's the biggest threat to unity?" Ana, ever the diplomat, offered division fueled by misinformation and outrage posing as patriotism. Karoline's reply landed like a hammer. Cowardice, from people in power who mock faith while pretending tolerance, who laugh when real Americans speak out. That's the threat. Ana shot back. So you think the left is cowardly? Karoline's response was a final, undeniable blow. Calling women like me angry or dangerous is just a polished way of telling us to sit down. The room tilted again. The balance irrevocably shifted. Then, in a rare, almost shocking gesture, Karoline extended her hand to Ana. After a moment's hesitation, Ana shook it. Cold, quick, professional. Flashbulbs popped, a flurry of light capturing the unexpected truce. The panel ended, but the moment lingered, a silent testament to the seismic shift that had just occurred. Within 15 minutes, the clip of Karoline's cowardice line was trending on X. #CowardiceKills. #Karoline versus Ana. #Big Mistake. Conservatives seized it like wildfire. Progressives scrambled for defenses that night. CNN's recap panel downplayed it, while Fox News's Counterpoint hailed it as a decisive victory. Trump reposted it by morning, garnering 5 million views. At 4:17 p.m., Karoline posted one line. Courage is clarity. Cowardice hides behind applause. No hashtags, no mention of Ana. It became the day's most shared post. Political analysts argued whether it was her words, her delivery, or the generational clash. One thing was clear. Ana Navarro had never faced a challenge like this. By evening, The Atlantic ran a brutal column, how Gen Z conservatives are beating the old guard at their own game. Karoline's press office confirmed interviews with Newsmax, Blaze TV, and top podcasts. The headline was hers, the tone set. Back in the White House, Karoline sat at her desk, blazers still sharp, reading a note from President Trump. You didn't just speak, you won. Her phone buzzed with alerts. Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro breakdowns. She wasn't smiling. She was calculating the next move. This was strategy in disguise. Meanwhile, in a green room across town, Ana Navarro scrolled through edits of the clip, forced laughs, tight smiles, each frame making her look smaller. Her team urged a response. She remained silent. That night, at a conservative rooftop reception, Karoline grabbed a mic again. No woman, left or right, should be silenced by crowd pressure. The crowd roared. Fox News aired it instantly. Charlie Kirk's caption, Karoline Leavitt just ended Ana Navarro's seat at the cool table. On MSNBC, Ana tried to frame the clash as spectacle, dismissing Leavitt. She's not a serious voice, just a stunt actress in a navy blazer. It didn't stick. The full clip spoke for itself, measured, direct, undeniable. By the next morning, a poll showed Karoline's name recognition had surged by 38%. CNN's anchor admitted on air, whether you agree or not, Karoline Leavitt is no longer a rookie. She's a force. Later, outside the West Wing, reporters pressed her. "Karoline, will you apologize?" She smiled slightly. "No, but if Ana Navarro ever wants a real debate, I'll bring facts. She can bring the laughs." Heels clicking across the stone walkway, she disappeared into the White House. For now, game over. Karoline Leavitt had laughed last, not because she was louder, but because she was right. In a world drowning in noise, she chose clarity, and the crowd didn't just hear her, they followed her. And that concludes the riveting account of a political moment that reshaped the landscape. If this story ignited a spark in you, if it showed you the power of conviction and clarity, then don't let the conversation end here. Like this video, share it with those who need to hear this message, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the stories that truly matter. Your support ensures that voices of courage continue to be heard. Join the movement.